He will be sued, and I say will be because nothing has been filed yet, by at least 120 people in the next 30 days.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Imagine working in the shadows of one of the most notorious prisons in the country, a place where whispers linger in the halls and secrets are hidden behind every locked door. Now, picture what happens when one of the world's most powerful music moguls, Diddy, a man who once ruled the entertainment industry with unmatched flair, suddenly finds himself thrown into this grim world. Sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood script, right? But this is real life, or at least that's what anonymous sources from inside the Metropolitan Detention Center are claiming. Trust me, these stories are as wild as the man himself.
Diddy, if you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him.
What makes this story even more intriguing is how it all began. Diddy's arrest wasn't just a shock to the public, it sent shockwaves through the prison system. Why? Because this wasn't your typical case of a celebrity facing a rough patch. No, this was something far darker. Diddy's charges were severe, and the courtroom drama surrounding him made headlines for months. When he was denied bail not once, but 3 times, it became clear this wasn't going to end with a cushy house arrest in a Miami mansion. Instead, Diddy found himself in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, a place infamous for its harsh conditions and eerie reputation. And while most inmates would crumble under the weight of such a transition, Diddy reportedly walked into the facility like he owned the place.
Incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent till proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent till proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent till proven guilty.
But that's where things start to get strange. An anonymous former prison guard, who left the job out of fear for their safety, has come forward with chilling details about life with Diddy behind bars. According to this whistleblower, Diddy wasn't just another inmate. From the moment he arrived, it was clear he was being treated differently, almost like royalty. Rumors began circulating among the staff. Why was he here? Why wasn't he transferred to a federal facility like other high-profile figures? The guard claims that even the warden seemed uneasy, issuing strict orders to avoid asking questions and to follow protocol to the letter. But as anyone who's worked in a prison knows, secrets don't stay buried for long.
With all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So
the first thing that raised eyebrows was the food. While other inmates were stuck with bland, barely edible meals, Diddy's dinners reportedly came straight from a 5-star restaurant, gourmet dishes like roasted chicken, fresh vegetables, and even desserts. It wasn't just the food. Over time, more personal items started showing up in his cell: designer clothes, expensive headphones, and a leather-bound journal with gold initials, not exactly standard issue for someone doing hard time. But it gets weirder.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No steak for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
The guard alleges that Diddy's visitor list read like a who's who of the rich and powerful. Late at night, long after visiting hours had ended, high-profile guests would arrive. These weren't typical prison visitors, they wore suits, and some of these names were instantly recognizable. Public figures, business moguls, even people from Diddy's former circle. What were they discussing? No one knows for sure, but the guard claims every visit left the staff on edge, as if something much bigger was happening behind closed doors.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
And then there were the glitches. According to the guard, the security cameras in Diddy's block would flicker and distort at the same times every night, usually around 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. The footage would warp, freeze, or go completely dark before returning to normal. When the guard brought this up to the tech team, they brushed it off as outdated equipment. But after weeks of the same pattern, it became clear this wasn't just a coincidence. Soon after, the guard began to suspect something more deliberate. During these blackouts, faint voices could be heard almost like murmurs, like whispers. At first, they thought it was their imagination, but the whispers grew louder, distinct enough to recognize fragments of words and even laughter. Yet, when they checked the cells, everything seemed normal. Diddy, for his part, didn't seem the least bit fazed. If anything, he appeared amused, as though he knew more than he was letting on.
Diddy's mom has finally spoken out amidst everything that is happening right now. Janice Small Combs provided a statement to some outlets via her attorney. So she starts off by saying it's very heartbreaking to see her son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies.
It wasn't long before the guards' curiosity got the better of them. During one of Diddy's recreational hours, they sneaked into his cell, hoping to uncover answers. What they discovered only deepened the mystery. Hidden beneath his mattress was a piece of paper covered in strange symbols, none of which resembled any language the guard recognized. Alongside it was a hurriedly scrawled note that read, "Watchers. Silence. Loyalty." Behind a loose brick in the wall, they found a crude drawing of an eye surrounded by flames and a list of names, some of which matched the guests who had visited Diddy late at night. This was the breaking point. The guard resigned shortly afterward, terrified of what might happen if they stayed. But even after leaving, they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Unfamiliar cars parked outside their home. Anonymous calls. It was clear someone was keeping tabs on them. Despite the risks, the guard decided to share their story, hoping to shed light on what was happening behind the walls of the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
No, I'm not surprised by the ruling because, as she cited in her order, there are very serious allegations about the danger that he potentially poses to other witnesses and the public at large. There are allegations that he has, been violent with others. He's also attempted to allegedly intimidate other witnesses and still contact witnesses while incarcerated.
To understand the gravity of Diddy's situation, we need to look at the charges against him. These are no small allegations. They span years and involve behavior that has shocked even his most devoted fans. While Diddy has pleaded not guilty, the details that have emerged paint a picture of someone deeply entangled in a web of control, manipulation, and power plays. And if you think this is just courtroom drama, think again. Diddy's legal battles are about more than just the law, they're about optics, about protecting his reputation. He's not just fighting for his freedom, he's fighting for his legacy.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
Diddy's first major legal hurdle came in November 2023, when his ex, Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit accusing him of a decade-long cycle of control and abuse. According to her claims, she felt trapped in a situation with no way out. But here's where things get even more intriguing. The case was settled just one day after it was filed. No trial. No public dispute. Just a quiet agreement. Some saw this as Diddy trying to make the issue go away quickly, while others couldn't help but wonder what was he trying to keep out of the public eye.
In fact, occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in this conduct and being in those spaces, consuming alcohol and things of that nature.
Days after the settlement, 2 more women came forward with similar lawsuits, detailing alleged incidents that took place decades ago. The timing of these lawsuits wasn't random, they were filed under New York's Adult Survivors Act, which temporarily lifted the statute of limitations, allowing victims to seek justice for past incidents. Diddy's legal team has consistently denied the allegations, calling them fabricated attempts to exploit his fame and fortune. But the sheer volume of accusations has made it harder to dismiss them. And while Diddy's team is playing defense, they're also going on the attack, filing motions to dismiss the lawsuits outright and claiming that the accusations are exaggerated or outright false.
It sounded crazy, like I said before. They said that 2,300 people reached out to the law firm, and out of the 2,300 people, I guess they decided to go with just a little over 100, which seems like it's they just put out the number and everybody's calling to see if they can get a check.
It's insane. It's insane. Now, again, he did say that nothing has been filed yet because he says he wants to make sure that they do their due diligence and get this right.
Things only get stranger with rumors that some potential witnesses have disappeared. Insiders close to the case claim that a few individuals who once spoke out about Diddy's alleged behavior have suddenly gone silent. While there's no concrete evidence to suggest foul play, the timing is suspicious enough to raise eyebrows. Adding to the intrigue are reports of private investigators hired by Diddy's legal team to dig into the lives of his accusers, looking for anything that could discredit their claims. It's a legal tactic, but one that crosses an ethical line for many. And as Diddy prepares for trial, rumors suggest he's struggling behind bars. He's reportedly been working out religiously, trying to stay in shape physically and mentally. But insiders say he's also growing paranoid, convinced someone in his circle has betrayed him. This paranoia is affecting not just his mood but also his legal strategy. Some sources claim Diddy has instructed his lawyers to dig into his accusers' backgrounds, hoping to discredit them, but this approach comes with risks. If it backfires, it could make him look even guiltier. With the trial set to begin in May 2025, the stakes couldn't be higher. If convicted, Diddy could face decades behind bars. But even if he avoids a guilty verdict, the damage to his reputation may be irreversible. For a man who built his empire on the idea of being untouchable, Diddy is now facing a reality where everything he's worked for could come crashing down. So, the big question remains, is Diddy the mastermind behind all this chaos, or is he a man at the mercy of forces beyond his control? Could his downfall be the result of his own actions, or is he being targeted by powerful enemies? The truth, as always, lies somewhere in the middle. But one thing is certain, this story is far from over. As the trial approaches, the world will be watching closely to see if Diddy can rise from the ashes, or if this is the final chapter in a career that once seemed unstoppable. What do you think is really happening behind the walls of the Metropolitan Detention Center? Is Diddy's downfall a result of his own actions, or is he being targeted by unseen forces? Share your thoughts below and let's keep the conversation going. Stay curious, and keep watching. Imagine working in the shadows of one of the most notorious prisons in the country, where whispers echo through the halls and secrets linger behind every locked door. Now, picture what happens when one of the world's biggest music moguls, Diddy, who once ruled the entertainment world with unrivaled flair, is suddenly thrust into this grim environment. Sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood script, right? But this is real life, or at least, that's what anonymous accounts from inside the Metropolitan Detention Center are claiming. And trust me, these stories are as wild as the man himself. What makes this tale even more fascinating is how it begins. Diddy's arrest wasn't just a public shock, it sent ripples through the prison system itself. This wasn't your typical celebrity mishap. No, the charges against him were serious, and the courtroom drama surrounding his case made headlines for months. But when he was denied bail not once, but 3 times, it became clear this wasn't going to end with him lounging in a Miami mansion. Instead, Diddy found himself behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, a place notorious for its brutal conditions and eerie reputation. An anonymous prison guard, who later quit out of fear for their safety, has come forward with unsettling details about Diddy's time behind bars. From the moment he arrived, it was apparent that Diddy wasn't being treated like your average inmate. In fact, it seemed like he was being treated like royalty. Rumors began circulating among the staff. Why was he here? Why wasn't he transferred to a federal facility like other high-profile prisoners? The guard claims even the warden seemed uneasy, issuing strict orders to follow protocol to the letter and avoid asking questions. But in the world of prisons, secrets don't stay buried for long. The first oddity: the food. While other inmates were stuck with bland, barely edible meals, Diddy's dinners came straight from five-star restaurants. Gourmet dishes, roasted chicken, fresh vegetables, even desserts were wheeled in on a cart every evening. And it didn't stop there. Personal items started to appear in his cell: designer clothes, expensive headphones, even a leather bag. Then, the visits started. Diddy's visitor list quickly became the subject of gossip among the staff. High-profile guests, some of them recognizable public figures and business moguls, started arriving after hours, long after visiting times were supposed to end. These weren't your typical prison visitors, and their late-night appearances left the staff on edge, unsure of what was happening behind closed doors. The guard noticed that security cameras in Diddy's block would flicker and distort at the same times every night, around 1 a.m. and again at 3 a.m. The footage would warp, freeze, or sometimes go completely dark before returning to normal. When the guard mentioned this to the tech team, they dismissed it as outdated equipment. But after weeks of the same pattern, it was clear something was deliberately manipulating the feed. And during these blackouts, the guards started hearing faint voices, murmurs, laughter, fragments of words coming from nowhere. Yet, when they checked the cells, everything appeared normal. Diddy, for his part, didn't seem disturbed by any of this. In fact, he appeared to be amused, as if he knew something the rest of them didn't.